show you how to make the commemorative Coronation coaster from Kreative Kiwi. For this I'm going to be using a 5x7 hoop, 2 layers of washaway stabiliser, a selection of threads, some with matching bobbins, some masking tape, my Squizzors, and my fabrics and batting cut to size. You'll find a link to this design in the video description below. I'm going to start off by hooping and pinning our 2 layers of washaway stabiliser. And to pin it, you're going to take your pin, rest it on the inside hoop, push it through the stabiliser, bring it back round and back through the stabiliser again, and that will anchor it. You're going to do that on all 4 sides. Load your file into your machine along with your neutral thread colour for your outer border fabric, and then you're going to stitch round number 1, and that's going to give you your placement outline for your batting, and I'm going with purple. Place your batting over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away the excess batting from around the edge of the stitch line, taking care not to cut your stitches. Place your fabric for the outer border over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 3 to secure it. It's going to secure it, and it's also going to do the quilting of the border as well. And I'm going with purple for this. We're now going to place our fabric for the centre here, but before we do, if you're using a dark fabric like me and you're worried about your fabric underneath showing through, you can trim out this centre here, and that's what we're going to do now. So just nick the fabric and then trim around to the edge. Take care not to cut your batting underneath, of course. Place your fabric for the centre over the outline and tape it in place. I'm going to give you another little tip here. We're going to have some quite intense fill stitching going on when we come to do the monogram and the crown. So I'm just using a bit of iron-on interfacing on the back of my fabric so that it gives it that strength, because my fabric is quite thin. So if you've got a thin fabric, I would recommend using iron-on interfacing on the back of it. So we're now going to stitch this down, secure it to the hoop, and we're going to do the quilting for the centre. So load your thread colour for that into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 4, and I'm going with white. We're now going to trim away the excess fabric from around the centre here. So trim around, taking care not to cut your stitches. Load your thread colour for the satin stitch border around the centre fabric into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 5, and that's going to zigzag the edge here, and I'm going with purple. So making sure that you got your thread colour for the satin stitch border around the centre fabric loaded into your machine, you're now going to stitch round number 6. So we now come to the cipher and its various elements, and we're going to start off with the monogram of the letters. So load your thread colour for that into your machine. I'm going to give you one more little tip before we go any further. Anywhere where you've got high contrasting threads between your top thread and your bobbin thread, the bobbin thread can show through. So between, for example, red and white, black and white, any colour where there's dark and light. So I would advise you to wind a bobbin from your top thread and use that. It does mean extra bobbin changes, but it will give you immaculate results. So without further ado, we're now going to stitch round number 7, and that's the monogram letters. And I've loaded gold into my machine for this. So next are all the elements of the crown. So load your red thread colour for the cap into your machine, and then stitch round number 8. Load your thread colour for the crown into your machine, and then stitch round number 9. Load your thread colour for the red jewels into your machine, and then stitch round number 10. Load your thread colour for the green jewels into your machine, and then stitch round number 11. Load your thread colour for the blue jewel of the crown into your machine, and then stitch round number 12. Load your thread colour for the white fur trim of the crown into your machine, and then stitch round number 13. Load your thread colour for the wording into your machine, and then stitch round number 14. And I'm going with black. So now that all the cipher detail is stitched, we're now going to add our backing fabric. So turn your hoop over, place your fabric over the outline, and tape it in place. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the satin stitching around the outer border into your machine, and then stitch round number 15, and that's going to secure your backing fabric in place. Trim away the excess fabric from both back and front of your hoop, so turn your hoop over and trim around the edge of the stitch line, taking care not to cut your stitches. Now going to pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 16, and that's going to zigzag the raw edge. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the satin stitching around the border into your machine, and then stitch round number 17. I was going to go with purple, but I've changed my mind and I've decided that I'm going to go with a nice brassy gold. So that's the stitching finished, so we can now turn this over and free our work from the hoop. So trim around the edge of the stitch line, taking care not to cut your stitches, of course. All we need to do now is remove the excess stabiliser from around the edge. So take a cotton bud and some warm water, dip it in and just wipe it around the edge. And that's our coaster complete. Are you going to be watching King Charles's coronation on TV on the 6th? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this stitch along. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of new videos as soon as they're published. Do pop along to Kreative Kiwi's Facebook group. There's always lots of ideas, help and inspiration there for everybody. And thank you very much for joining me. You'll find a link to this design in the video description below, along with lots of other information such as where I get my supplies and some discount codes for you as well. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.